So Konami have given us a brand new Cesc Fabregas manager card for free. He comes with the most overpowered link-up play, and you can simply dominate with possession playstyle with these 5 best possession formations. We're also going to show you how to get the best out of Fabregas, and we're going to cover, yes, you guessed it, the one major issue with possession managers at the moment. Let's get straight into the video. So we're going to start with formations, and formation number 1 that we're checking out is going to be a tried and tested 4-2-3-1 with Cristiano Ronaldo as an isolated central striker that can do everything. We've got a solid back 4 with our defensive fullbacks there, ideally over destroyers or attacking fullbacks. Double pivot DMF, one is going to have the link up, in this case it's going to be Pirlo, and one central striker. Now this is what it's all about when you're playing with a central striker. You need to bring your attacking midfielders in, and you need to be able to score goals from everywhere in your midfield. Also with the link-up play here, that's going to be key with a central striker. Defensively and individual instruction-wise, defensive on one of your CBs. If you've got a destroyer playing as a CB, then obviously put defensive on your destroyer CB because they are a little bit more aggressive and they are a little bit more headless when they're chasing the ball. The only other thing you need to do is go in when you're in a match, before a game, before it kicks off, in your game plan, put one of your DMFs, your non-link-up play DMF, such as Vieira in this case, back deep using man marking his centre forward, the opponent's centre forward. This is where it gets interesting though, on the sub tactic, right? You've kind of brought in a lot of width. Now this is going to depend on what players that you have, and you've gone from that isolated central striker to a more kind of like meta hybrid player base with your trio here. Now you can do this and still isolate your strikers up front with a double pivot here, and then have the width to just stretch the play and keep the ball wide. If you're not playing a little bit out wide with possession, you're wasting your time. You might as well not even use possession. You need to overlap a lot. This is where formation 2 comes into it if you're not used to playing out wide and you don't like holding the ball in wide positions. This is kind of like a metafied version of possession. You've got your anchoring on your centre forward, your defensive still on your destroyer CB, and then your counter targets on whatever players you want to keep up. We've got a triple line of DMFs, including with our Pirlo again, our link-up play. Now, when you actually bring this into a sub-tactic, you can spread it out a little bit more. There is a huge issue with possession game, and it is that it creates massive gaps at the back of the pitch and in your defensive line. The only way really to get around this is pretty much manually defending or just not isolating centre backs to defend for you. Just letting the AI kind of defend the line for you, because look how high up you're going to be when your defensive shape is key and when it's at default with possession. This is a huge issue with it. This is how you need to play possession, right? I've seen a lot of people, possession is not going to ever be overpowered compared to long ball counter or quick counter. That's just the way the game is. But I think with possession, right, I have said on stream, and I've said it multiple times, they need to bring in that possession that the players leave positions with the AI, not when you're being chased around. You will see here against this opponent, this guy's just chased me around. No real plan of how he's trying to win the ball back from me. I am literally just dragging him out of position, but his AI is still not switching off, and the AI will never switch off because it's so assisted at the moment. But eventually we're going to hold on to the ball for such a long time. We're going to frustrate the opponent. We're going to pass. When we have an opening, we're going to pass again. When we have another opening, we're going to retain possession until we can pretty much walk it in and recycle the ball for a simple tap-in. That's how you play possession most effectively. It does require patience. If you don't have that patience, this is where formation number 3 comes in, which is kind of about switching it up out wide, having crosses, having different areas to attack, as you see here, and a very unorthodox positioning from your players that is going to be difficult to man mark and track from your opponent's point of view. You've again got your single striker linking up with Pirlo. These are the individual instructions that you're seeing here. Anchoring, what does it do? Well, it keeps your players out as wide as you possibly can. So Gareth Bale or Varane, whoever we're playing in this position, you pretty much have wingers here while still having a bit of defensive shape. Counter target, what does that do? It keeps the player up without conserving energy and without using as much stamina. They've reworked the stamina a little bit so you can put it on whichever players in your squad that has the least stamina. It's not really a big deal how you actually set up here. It's more about the overall, plan of attack that you're doing, okay? Now, one thing I want to say with formation number 4 as we get down to the nitty gritty, right? If you're using a link-up manager, it's very overpowered at the moment. Is it spammable? Yes, it's extremely spammable for creating space, and the AI actually switch off a lot of the times to create gaps. That is why I have shoehorned in link-up to every single one of these formations, including this 5 at the back. Now, I know what you're saying. 5 at the back with an overloaded left flank. It's meta, it's sweaty, it's tryhard. But when you're playing possession, right, and we'll touch on this at the end of the video, It's not just about having 5 at the back to play anti-football or negative football. You need to manually trigger runs, and you also need to be switching from sub-tactic to your primary one, your primary to sub-tactic, as we're seeing here as we set this up manually, to be able to create overlaps, overloads, and to be able to retain possession with your players. It doesn't matter if it's Piqué or Cannavaro. You should be able to kind of stretch out the play even with these cards. If you're using stun and pass, you're using overloads, you're using all of this. But again, you're going into a very simple, 2 at the back with 2 out wide. Then you've got 3 3 DMFs, and then you've got your straight line with an overload on the left. This is probably my favorite formation to use, is this one here. So this is a slight modification to the ones that we've already seen. And I think that this is like pretty much traditionally a diamond, right? You've got your holding, you've got your attacking kind of midfielder in the shape of an all-overall or all-round beast in Vieira or any of these cards. If you've got Free Kante, you've got Rijkaard, you've got Rodri, Bellingham. It doesn't really matter the players that you have. The better the players, the better this is going to work. But all of this setup here that you're seeing on screen, and you can look at this here with anchoring left, right with Figo, you are literally trying to artificially create different types of play styles. And that's what possession's strength it really does shine, right? You can still defend manually. You can still be aggressive defensively, as you see here, if you're playing manually defense, right? And you're playing a lot of manual defense with the players that you are meant to defend with. You don't really need to be chasing people with Van Dijk. It's more Thuram's job or Cannavara's job. Again, with this, if you are playing as deep as you are with this, you have to have a second plan. And that is where sub-tactic comes into it, where you've got one big, one small. I don't say Eto'o is small, but you know what I mean. Eto'o is not going to be winning ball like Drogba's going to be winning ball. Also with this, the better players you have and the more understanding you have of playing possession, you can literally beat meta players that just don't know what it's like not to have the ball. If you're playing, and I always say this, right? If you're playing against somebody that's playing with fire, you don't need to match him fire for fire. You can introduce something new and actually quench what he's trying to do and extinguish what he's trying to do by not feeding into his very much so, balls to the wall style. And that's where possession comes into its own, right? Now, one thing I will say, there is nothing you can really do, right? Don't believe clips or don't believe videos or don't believe people when they say, oh, this formation, stops there being gaps at the back. The way the game is designed at the moment, there is always going to be gaps at the back unless you're using smart assist and unless you're literally defending with the goalkeeper or you're playing 5 at the back. If you're playing possession, you need to be very comfortable with the ball at your feet and you need to be able to hold the ball to the last second to then get rid of it and draw in the opposition players. After you gain possession, this is the biggest problem with the possession gameplay, right? After you gain possession and lose possession, there is a slight kind of delay between the players on possession playstyle, as you're seeing here, triggering compared to quick counter or long ball counter. When you get the ball back with quick counter, why can't I say that? Or long ball counter, the players just make it dart forward. So they're always giving you options to run into a ball. With possession, they come really close to you, and it can be very, very difficult to get used to that if you're not used to playing possession. But if you persist with it, and if you get a good connection, that's probably the key point, and you train your cards like this is the last point I'll make, possession-based builds. So for defenders, left back, right back, centre backs, doesn't really make a difference. Players that you're literally going to be option number 1, booting the ball and getting rid of the ball, and option number 2, playing out from the back. Compared to your attackers, I'm talking CMFs, including your DMFs and CMFs, such as Xabi Alonso, Pirlo, or any of these boys that are actually spamming the link-up play. If you want to spam the link-up play of over-the-top through balls you saw in the clips, you definitely need to have one-touch pass, sole control, weighted pass, and true pass. If you don't have all of these, try and work your system through this and try and get the skills. Also with attackers and ball runners, people that are going to have the ball at their feet and dictate the play. Your Pedris, your Modric's, your Platinis, your Scholes, your Alonso's, your Zicos and Cruyffs. They need to be the orchestrator and have 90 plus in these stats that you see here, or 85 plus if you're not used to it. Again, you are going to create gaps. The gaps are going to be there no matter what you do. You're going to have a very high line, and even when you're defending, you can get caught in the break very simple. But if you actually play to the strengths of possession, you can mix meta through the middle ball, you can mix over the top through balls, you can mix wide play, you can mix frustrating your opponent possession based play, and you really can push up on the opponent and offer him something different. It is a big pity that Fabregas doesn't have a dual proficiency because his booster is quite good for defensive players. He has a really good system in place with his default management style and all of that, but it is just a pity that he doesn't be able to switch to a long ball or even a quick counter because you are limited with possession, that if it doesn't work and you come up against a meta guy, you're kind of stuck. Even if you change formation and use any of the 5 formations here. It is probably the best Fabregas or one of the best manager cards. It's probably out here at the moment, especially with the link up if you spam link up. But I mean, to get the real joy out of possession, you need to mix it up and throw it around a bit. So that is it, man, for a long video that we did. I hope you guys enjoy it. Don't forget to subscribe and let me know how you're getting on with Fabregas. There is no real substitution, lads, right now in the gameplay, no matter what way you dress it up. For long ball counter or quick counter. They're just OP, they're meta, they're just unbelievably easy to use because they do the runs that they do. But possession is super fun. You can dominate people with possession if you actually like to play that way. Let me know what you guys think.